A specific element of it, we've got a reasonably substantial or significant section of the request for proposal that is around local industry participation. It's a specific section of the evaluation that has a relatively high rating associated with our evaluation, and certainly connected with the work we've been doing with the Mana Whenua Working Party and the Tai Whenua.
Sorry, I wasn't so much meaning the construction, I was meaning ongoing post-construction work, because it's ongoing work that is really important.
Yeah, so I can certainly just comment around the construction phase and the commitment that we've made through the formal processes that we're going to have in place around perhaps the final contractor. Elements of that work, and it relates to the earlier comment around the offset mitigation, the biodiversity package relates to ongoing work around environmental works, pest control and those sorts of areas, and again those costs and commitments have been identified in the project and are a commitment of it. In terms of the wider issue associated with landowners and what they do, to a degree that's beyond our control. Acknowledging the areas that we can influence and the commitment we've made to have as fairly represented as we can, the Hawke's Bay and New Zealand participation. But perhaps on a size and scale basis and a threshold that there's opportunities for everyone. That's certainly the evidence we're getting out of the stats from WINS on unemployment numbers. Our fear was in fact finding enough people, as opposed to the type of work or the opportunities aren't appropriate for those that are looking for work.
If I could help put your mind at ease, Councillor, I mean, those are very subjective comments that you've just made, I'm sorry. The vast majority of employees in the dairy industry in New Zealand are locally made, not imported. The pip fruit or the harvesting issue in Hawke's Bay is just having enough work for the rest of the year. It's only a small window. And I think the comments about employment or unemployment, that's incredibly subjective, and I actually take a little issue with that, because I think that was a comment made out of quite a long conversation. You just cherry-picked an issue that you thought would suit this discussion. One of the points that you could have repeated from the McFarlane presentation was the fact of the matter is unemployment in Ashburton at the moment is just about non-existent. So I'm not sure where you're coming from with those subjective comments.
Well, as far as subjective comments go, perhaps you're thinking of Connor English's comments that the dam is going to bring down crime in Hawke's Bay, and television the other day.
And he's not sitting at the table.
To compare,
Any other questions? Councillor McGregor.
Could I just comment on that? I think a signal of what could happen can be seen in brown rig agriculture, and I'm familiar with that. I've never seen a Filipino working there, but I've seen dozens of local Maori.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to cherry-pick any particular ideas, but I do want to take the Managing Director to his report, his second dot point under HBRC limited on this first page. You with me there? Advertising a short listing for appointments of 2 non-executive directors to the Port of Napier. Has that process, are we down to particular people that are being looked at presently?
I think I'm not really involved, Councillor, but there's a long list being identified, I gather.
The long list is being interviewed at the moment. There's no short list yet.
Okay.
There was, help me here, Mr. MD, I think was there 41 applicants?
Oh, it might have been that order, but I think
huge interest, incredible interest in the 2 positions.
But you're not aware of the long list and its composition?
They're working through that at the moment.
Producing it,
yeah. Okay. Sheffield is doing that work.
I raised that because I was just interested to know whether there were any women amongst that group. And
I know that. I know that one.
Well, I just wonder whether
50-50 on the long list.
We know that the Taliban is alive and well in Hawke's Bay, and there are likely to be more women members of the Afghan Parliament than ever sit on the Port of Napier.
Okay, any further questions?
Well, just to comment on the employment thing, that last night at the Tamatea Tai Whenua, Kerry Annard, who's actually standing for Parliament, standing for the council down there, very pretty blonde, about 25 years old, and said that she didn't know anything about politics, and I said she'll be ideal because Tim was there, he didn't know either after 6 years. However, she's involved with employment in Central Hawke's Bay, and she expressed her dissatisfaction with WINS and how they actually handle people, especially in Central Hawke's Bay, and has offered her services to the Tai Whenua if the dam goes ahead. So, those things are coming together down there. And the Mana Whenua group, which includes Hiratonga, are going to be talking to the successful company. At the moment, there's 2 companies up, and we like some of the things in this company and some of the things that have been in there, so we're going to sort of cherry pick and have them all. So we want, the best pie, as it were, at the end of it. But all these things are subjective, and we have to wait and go along with your fellows' process.
Councillor Gilbertson, you happy to move the report? There being no further questions, happy to second. You wish to speak?
Mr. Chairman, this is a very good report, and it has gone all over the place, but this is such a major project that I think we can probably broaden the subject slightly away from the main theme. But no, it's just very heartening to see it's going so well. The main thing for me is the local is what a good job Duncan's doing on the uptake, but of course he's from Otani, so he would do a good job. But this is, it's good to see that it's a pretty complex operation that's going forward pretty smoothly, and the path of true love never runs smooth, or the path of building a dam never runs smooth, so I expect these things. But yeah, congratulations on a job really well done, and just hope it keeps going as well.
And we have ranged far and wide on the report, but there were things that are actually connected with it and with the news around this. And I must say, we need to be very careful just what we say about some of the processes here, because when you start questioning integrity and the news, I think it is very careful that you don't actually question then the integrity of all those people that have had input and throughout this process and have been providing a different form of feedback. So I think that we need to be very careful to see that we actually take the official reports and treat them with respect that they should be there. It was raised this morning on the news that there was a smoking gun, and I think there is a smoking gun. And I think the best thing I can do is quote Maggie Thatcher. He said, "I always cheer up immensely if an attack is particularly wounding, because I think, well, if they attack one personally, it means they've not a single political argument left." And I wonder how much that smoking gun is actually related to the fact that the evidence is not being tested. I personally, as a council, would welcome any science that's going to come through. And of course, we're still waiting to see what the submitters are going to be putting up. We did have a table up there, and I'm sort of looking forward to the evidence, because the proper process, Mr. Chairman, is to test this thoroughly and to test it fairly in front of an authority that can weigh and judge the evidence. And that's what the RMA process is about. And none of us wants to see anything that is not thoroughly tested and is robust, because at the end of the day we want confidence. We want confidence that what we're doing is going to be right, and we want confidence that going forward we can make this work. But I certainly want, over and above what is going on through the EPO process, to comment on the uptake, and congratulations to the good work that is being done there, because I think that is a very encouraging strand that is coming together, and there's a lot of positive things about this that is continuing to make a good news story. And light of some of the things we heard today about the stress of water storage, water shortage in times of drought, we must look forward to building a resilience in the future. And I just hope that this process can go on ticking off the boxes, getting everything right, being assessed properly, and meeting all the criteria.
Yeah, I just at this stage like to compliment Councillor Rem as well for her questions, which are grassroots questions which are asked around the district, and her continual stance for the so-called ordinary person in the street. It's an extremely complicated process through the Mana Whenua, the stakeholders group. I'll probably touch wood, been to more meetings than anybody about it. But all those types of questions come back, and she's just raising them here. And it's been a little bit of a lonely stand, and thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to endorse the report also, and just want to say over the last 2 or 3 weeks I've pounded a fair bit of the footpaths around Hastings, and I've door knocked just on 1,000 houses, and the subject of the dam does come up a number of times. It's probably the number one issue, number one conversation, and like Mr. Mahi said, and like Councillor Rimswell stated in her questions, a lot of the questions that Councillor Rimswell raised are raised with me at the doorstep. But I must say, Mr. Chairman, that in my view, and it couldn't be many more grassroots, because it's real people at real doorsteps, there is a considerable support for the dam. I rate it as well over 50%, and it's probably increasing by the day. So a lot of people are a little bit confused, a lot of people misunderstand various things, but the overall concept, I believe, is well endorsed. It's certainly well endorsed with what I've heard in the last 3 weeks.
Other speakers? Anyone else wishes to speak? No one wants to sum up? Okay, I'll put that motion, and all those in favour please say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Right, item 15. Let's crack on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a progress report that's been requested on the activities of the Hawke's Bay Local Authority Shared Services Company. So this is covered in agenda item 15, page 125 to 127. Just very broadly speaking, the company's been established for just under 9 months when this was written, about 9 months now. There are 6 board directors, 5, one from each of the 5 local authorities, and an independent chairman. The board has looked at, or is in the process of looking at 4 areas of activities to evaluate the potential of shared services. And in my paper, I've just really outlined the progress that's been made on each of those. I have referenced the building control activity, even though this council is not a part of that, because we only have a building consent requirement around the building consents for dams, of all things, and we have delegated or given that responsibility over to Waikato Regional Council. So we are not a part of the investigation, or would not be part of any future shared service around building control activity. However, it is making some quite significant progress, particularly with the bringing on board of some external assistance, just to fine-tune some of the issues that has arisen. One area that we are leading is in terms of the working group from among staff of the various councils is around the GIS services. And this has reached the point where there's an implementation plan, so we're getting down to the actual detail of how this would work, by whom, etc. That's coming back to the board at our next meeting, and we're expecting that to be able to, press the go button on that one as soon as we've seen that implementation plan. And from a regional council perspective, it will be particularly timely too. So we're very confident that will, by the next time I report to you, that will be well underway. Regional call centre, again, that's all 5 councils have been involved in that. The advisory group reported back to the board in June. We've just asked them to undertake some further work around additional information. Basically, there's 4 councils that use one alternative service and the other one doesn't, and so it's just a matter of really trying to work in or alleviate the concerns, I guess, of the one outstanding council. And then the final one that I wanted to report on, again, is another one that should be underway very shortly, and that's around vehicle fleet management. And we have, as a part of the investigations, have identified savings in excess of $100,000 through a shared service program, and the implementation plan for that, in other words, who will be doing it and how and when, is due to come back to the board again in either this month or at the following meeting. So there's some clear savings already been identified there. Just some further opportunities. I've just sort of flagged things that have been identified, but we haven't actually looked at any or asked staff to begin investigations in those yet. There's certainly a keenness from the territorial authority members of the board to look more closely at the three waters, stormwater, wastewater and water supply, and how that could become some shared services around the management of those services as opposed to the delivery of those. So again, that's something that we would be one step removed from, I guess, but would certainly be reporting through. Finally, the statement of intent that you approved back in November last year for the period December 2012 to June 2013. These are the performance targets that were set, and a report back on each of those. So that was up to the 30th of June, and obviously the work that's progressed since then will be part of the 2013-2014 statement of intent. Thank you, Mr.